Hey guys, listen, this is one of the hardest things to really try and deliver to someone. It really is. And I wish with all my heart I wasn't such badly damaged goods. And I went through the life that I went through because I just don't know how to deliver words to really the way I want to. The way they really need to be. But you know, I've come to learn something about life. Right? I've come to learn something about life itself. The real meaning of life. What real freedom is all about. The real liberation we only ever dream about. Imagine that. Just try to. Because it's beyond the imagination. And it kind of leaves you very speechless. So speechless that when people try to explain this, they mess it up. And you can understand why when you're living it, when you've gone through that kind of experience. People talk about being awake or woke all over the world, and I think people completely misunderstand the concept. Well, in fact, I know they do. And it makes me feel really sad in many ways, and also really disappointed and greatly concerned. Because I know when a person's gone through the inflection point, the way that I have, and crossed over their vertigo with their placebo effect to use their natural organic motor skills with 32 senses, like superhuman abilities, remote viewing, mental telepathy, ESP, universal language, codependent feelings from the atmosphere, with that kind of relationship, understanding what the meaning of life is, and feeling like heaven on earth, and having that ability to be so free and in your most high with that kind of love wrapped around you. Like you're being protected with that kind of aura, that kind of power that people have no concept of. But it is the most unbelievable feeling that's way beyond the mindset we live in. So far beyond, it's beyond the mind. You can't explain it. They say it's the knowing. They say it's the crossover. They say it's the rebirth. They say it's resurrection. They say it's the great restoration. They say it's the salvation. They name it for many different things. I call it the crossover. Crossing over the vertigo from the 5 sense world into the 27 sense world with the 24th chromosome. That's embedded in our second chromosome, which has had an intervention with 2 different chromosomes. We live in 23 with an evolution mutation, and we follow those footsteps in the 5 senses with a high IQ, and we're trapped in conscious thoughts inside the mind with a high IQ that in fact only makes you good at what you do, but in fact not intelligent. And when you wake up from amnesia and the mind trap and you discover yourself spiritually, it's the wow factor beyond anything you've ever experienced in your life. And there are no words on earth that can express it. Look, I'll tell you something. I died in 2012. When people die, they often say they go into another dimension where everything is perfect. No pain, stress and fear, in a time where time stands still and life preserves, and they get a massive clarification where they can see things really differently. And it's an experience that's expressed in such a way they don't want to come back. And I can tell you, I would call it the quantum mechanical relationship. Loyalty, honor, respect, moral and remorse, inspiration and encouragement, the most powerful you've ever felt before in your life, and there's no feeling on earth like it. And it's just like you're buzzing in the most high that you've ever been in your life, and some. Totally organic. And you leave your vessel, you leave your mind, you leave your personality, and you realize you're living in your personality, inside your mind, in the human experience. You're inverted. You think from the inside out all the time, analyzing, and getting analyzed. Now you think differently from the outside in. And you control your vessel as if you are your own God. So you can control your vessel and your personality, and you take control of your mind, and you become the mastermind of your own mind. And that's extraordinary because it gives you all these unbelievable abilities that's beyond the mind. I've been declared dead 3 times. Okay, and my biology's changed with scientific evidence since 2008 to 2016 biologically. And natural selection and life in our DNA, as reported by Jeremy Griffiths and the top guys in the whole world with the World Transformation Movement. It's a natural selection in life, a natural order when you use your natural organic motor skills. And that's what I've done my whole life without realizing it, because I was very different. And I didn't even know, because I was trapped inside my mind. I had to go through a process like I was being judged by myself. And I had to relive my life from the very beginning to that moment. And I had to revise every single thing since I come into this world, since I was a child. And I had to go back to my childhood, all the way back to my childhood, and think instinctively and not think psychologically. Think spiritually, not think mentally with a high IQ, trapped in my mind with my own truth, and come to my own conclusion with reasoning in my personality and the skull, but breaking free from the mindset and sticking your head for the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you look back in the tunnel, in the cave you're stuck into, you're trapped into. You've come through the light at the end of the tunnel. You didn't die, or you did die, and you come back and you start to understand these things. You're in the knowing because you escaped the mind, right? Like if you stick your head outside the cave, it's like you're in a long dark cave trapped in the tunnel, and you're looking at it, you're living with a spectrum of light. They say that in the scientists. And when you come out the mind, when you come out the light, when you come through the light in the tunnel, you're out here and you control your vessel so that nobody else can, from a 5th dimensional field, which is an angelic being, a 5th dimensional field, when we live in 5 senses and negative fields. And you learn that and you control your vessel, so you no longer have any more voices in your mind controlling you. When you think you're talking to yourself, it's only a personality. It tells you what to do all the time and what not to do. And you can confuse yourself when you think critically. When you think outside the mind, you can respond 7 times faster than you can think. It's a known fact. Okay, with what? With a universal language, with codependent influence from the atmosphere, right? Connected to life, nature, and all the things in harmony with. When I died and went to that dimension, that's what it felt like, right? Every living thing, sand, soil, water, the earth, plants, I was so connected, man, it was unbelievable. And then when I looked at things, right, it's like X-ray vision, and I could see things so clear and so beautiful colors. It was amazing stuff. Like supervision, and it's like super feelings, like super love. I mean, there's no other way you can explain it. So far beyond, it was incredible. Now, here's the extraordinary part that I want to share with every one of you. Through this process I was put through, I had to judge every single thing I did in my life, good and evil, good and bad, every mistake I made, and everything I missed out on as well that I didn't think about because of the mindset I was in. So good things I'd done, I never realized. Bad things I'd done, I've exaggerated myself about, okay? And I had to face every bad thing, everything I've ever done, and revise my perception, and then go back into how do I feel about it? Do I have any moral guilt and shame about these things? And how shamed am I? And why am I? And what did I learn from it? It's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. That's what I learned. It's not actually what you're doing in life, it's about what you learn from it. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's what you learn from it. And do you grow the great experience, wisdom and knowledge in your life? Because I did, and I was lucky. I was blessed by an angel my whole life. Okay? Many times, many people said to me, hey Kim, it's like you've been kissed on the dick by an angel. And you know, I used to shrug that off with a smile and just take it how it was. But I realized in the end that I actually was. And I never went to the church, never read the Bible, none of these things. But when I broke free like this, there was only one thing in the world that I could relate to. Christ said, we're trapped in the skull and we do not know what we do, and we do not know any better. Please forgive them, Father. They're trapped in the mind. They have amnesia. They don't know who they are. They're trapped in their mind, in a personality with a high IQ and inverted. And that's why he said everybody's wrong. The religions are wrong. The markets are wrong. The gambling type is wrong. The people in the church are wrong. The fasters, the pharaohs, the priests, the kings, the pharaohs, the whole lot. And he was right. We now proven that with biological evidence. He was right. It's about our natural organic motor skills to think instinctively with our moral instincts in the right place. You know, to do the right thing with real loyalty, honour, respect, moral remorse, inspiration and encouragement. No other tools are required. You're only supposed to use your mind as a mathematical computer to work things out with, 1 to 5%. And we're supposed to think outside the mind, 95 to 99%. And that's what happens when you cross over. You know, we think 95 to 99% inside our mind, and we only think outside the mind 1 to 5%, recorded all over the world with biological evidence. And this is how you repair your genes and preserve life, by crossing over. It stops the aging reverse process. Repair your genes' DNA by having faith in your biological genes that in your primal state to think instinctively, you were created in God's image to have the tools that God has and more, which is Christ, Yeshua, who came here in our image. And you learn that. You learn that we're created in this image not to conquer, debate and divide, argue or be self-centered or egotistical, but to be selfless. And you know, I was selfish until this moment. I know that for a fact, regardless. I had a chip on my shoulder. Okay, and I know that. But this is where things altered so dramatically that I was given the gift of life. I went through a transformation for 3.5 years in my own judgment, with the worst stress and anxiety I've had in my life. Then, in biological evidence, I found out about my biology, that I could do things that no one else could do. And I was one of a kind, but one of 113 people with this selection in life, a natural selection. And I thought, what am I hearing here? I went home that day and I was so mind blown, you have no idea. I woke up the next morning, pins and needles all over my body, just like when I went into that dimension that was perfect. I couldn't understand this. I woke up feeling unbelievable, the best day of my life ever in history. And you know what's astonishing? And all the light came to me, and all I felt was a relationship. And it turned into a portal, and I was wide awake, first thing in the morning, fresh as anything. And then all of a sudden, boom, I go across to this parallel world again, wide awake. While I'm wide awake, I didn't die, didn't have a moment, didn't take drugs, nothing like this. I was feeling magnificent this morning. I go into this beautiful dimension, and wow, just wow. I come back, okay, and the most powerful events take place. I write my book that unfolds within as a testimony of darkness reborn. Information beyond the mind, way beyond the mind. But I'm not here to tell you about that. I'm here to tell you that day, right, there are 2 massive events that happen, fully recorded, that can be verified in that day. And I have been given the blessing from an angel that communicates with me in ways that I've never seen or heard of before in my life. The information I come here is astonishing. It blows my own mind away with disbelief. But I've been blessed with an outside influence of my reality, with information that's beyond the mind. And the love and the cure of every single thing we suffer from. And that's what we teach here. With Win Up the Breathing program, who's won a Nobel Prize to create the sacred secretion to think instinctively and to think outside the mind, and to reactivate the 27 senses we can't use, right? To think outside the mind, with the book Freedom by Jeremy Griffiths, okay? In the World Transformation Movement, please watch this white video, The Great Transformation. It's a natural selection in life in our DNA. So we have to select naturally by restoring our biological genes to use our natural organic motor with our 27 senses, not just the 5, to think outside the mind, beyond the mind, the restoration, the rebirth, the crossover, to be in that image. We can do what Christ can and more, and the evidence is here to prove it. In 24 chromosomes, I'm living evidence. And God gave me that blessing and He selected me. He selected me. And I'm blessed so much that I can share this information and teach you how to go through this without having to go through that kind of judgment that I went through, because I died and went through the most terrifying moment of my life. And I don't wish this above my own wisdom. But I know the judgment and I know the resurrection, and I can give you the specific details to that. Love you all, guys. Have a great day.